Hello, everyone. To our viewers also who are live en route, and of course, around a 400-odd audience packed house. I'm told there are people who still want to enter. So welcome to this absolutely electrifying panel, which is a first, I would say, where on the one hand, we have the enabler for high-speed internet connectivity in the country, Honorable Minister Scindia, and the enabled on the other side, who, with their content, are showcasing what good tech can do, and in the process, of course, building millions of followers and educating them. So welcome everybody to the panel. I'm going to start really first with the Minister. We are at the cusp of the next billion users coming online, and most of them are going to be led by India, not the West. These users are enthusiastic about using digital media and will transform the way really that internet is going to be used for their aspirations. Minister Scindia, you said India followed the world in 4G, marched with the world in 5G, but we shall lead the world in 6G. India will play a big role in international regulation also. Tell us what the road ahead looks like to enable India in this telecom framework and to lead in 6G.
Okay, thank you so much, Meg. It's actually an honor to share the stage with those that are leaders of the democratization of access and content, not only for India, but for the world. So it's a pleasure to be on stage with Saba and Naman and Rajiv. They've really trailblazed the way in terms of being firebrands, in terms of the number of followers and the quality of content that they have created, and their career paths and their life paths. It's been an arduous path for each of them, and so for us in the telecom space and the IT space, in many ways, they are our firebrand leaders. So I'd love to have a round of applause for these three individuals on the stage today. I do believe that democratization of access to information and to content is one of the biggest revolutions in the world today. 100 years ago, when the manufacturing revolution took place, the key impediment or barrier to entry was access to capital. Capital today has become a commodity, and good content, good ideas, and innovation, that has become the real barrier to entry. And I think whereas the West may lead the charge in some ways in terms of technology and media, I think India does and will, for the future, lead the charge in terms of creation of content. I do believe that the government's role is to lay out the carriageway as well as the guardrails. Now, the carriageway is your fiber, your telecom infrastructure. The guardrails are regulation, standardization. And that's why it's such a landmark event that India today is hosting the WTSA, the World Telecom Standard Assembly, for the first time in the history of the Assembly and the history of Asia is being held in India. And we've got and not only that, to packed houses like what we're seeing today. We've got 3,200 delegates from 160 countries, 36 countries represented by ministerial positions in this conference, along with IMC. So really, India has come to the fore. In the last 10 years, I really believe that this has not been a decade for India, but this has really been a decade for India. And just look at the numbers. We had 11 lakh route kilometers of OFC fiber in 2014. We have 41 lakh route kilometers today. So it's almost a 4 multiple. 904 million mobile users, 1.16 billion today. 250 million internet users, 950 million internet users today. Broadband greater than 2 GBP, You're talking about 60 million 10 years ago, 924 million today. So it's been a paradigm shift, it's been an inflection point. And that brings me to the creativity part. Content creation will be, today is a $30 billion enterprise, will be close to about $480 billion by 2030, 2035. Now that's the kind of leap that you're seeing, which is being enabled by this carriageway and this highway. On the flip side, as Meg said in a question, India for the first time is becoming a part of the standard setting process, not for India, not for Asia, but for the world. We were nowhere in 3G. We were nowhere in 4G. For the first time in 5G, we introduced 5Gi, which was our recommendation to the WTSA and the 3GPP that there must be an element of rural connectivity as part of the standard setting process, which was accepted. And mind you, it's a very arduous process that every proposal goes through. Techies look at it, scientists look at it, and only when it passes the muster of all of these individuals is it accepted. Our Bharat 6G Alliance today is across industry, academia, entrepreneurs, corporates, government, sitting together and putting together the standards for 6G. 10% of the patents will be aimed to be set by us in the 6G standardization process. So India has come of age. India is there, ladies and gentlemen, and India will be the content creation king and queen in the years to come with individuals like these three on the dais with me. So thank you to Naman, thank you to Sahiba, and thank you to Rajiv. Thank you.
Those are some mind-boggling numbers, and India's age is already there. We are already there. Rajiv, I wanted to start by you and ask you, you've noticed internet consumption and pattern in consumptions over a time now, made the transition from television to the internet. How do you see audiences changing? What are they consuming now? How has that changed over the last 2-3 years, especially with, like the minister was talking about, with speeds changing, more internet penetration, more mobile penetration?
So thank you for the question, and fantastic numbers, Minister. But the good part, all of that incredible thing that he spoke about is actually happening in real time and growing. I think by the time you spoke about those numbers already may have gone up by 4 to 5%, because that's the kind of numbers we are getting. The other thing that I want to change in that statement is we will lead in 6G. I think we already lead in 5G because there are so many elements that we are already seeing. Even before 5G came, there were more 5G phones that were ready for 5G than anywhere else in the world. So we were ready for it, right?
Fastest
The
rollout.
deployment of 5G in India has been the fastest there's ever been in the whole world. These are not small things. And of course, the third thing that you should be very proud of, or maybe not so proud of, is that our data consumption per month in India is incredible. We will be the #1 data consumer per person per month. I think we are about 4 months away from that. So some of that is the content that we are all making. Most of it could also be the videos that you're seeing of the minister when he talks about India. So it's a very vibrant, dynamic place. And why is it? Let me give you 2 or 3 very quick stats that are actually shocking. So let's talk about just YouTube. YouTube today has 95% consumption in India that is actually regional channels. Take it back 5 or 6 years back, it was predominantly English, not even Hindi. Today it's 95% regional. When Instagram actually thought of, or YouTube thought of doing shorts, which was the country they started off, where was the first YouTube shorts? India. That's because they know this is the place where content will be consumed. That's not a simple decision to take. Look at the number of countries YouTube is in, but they started shorts here in India. And today, influencers the word I use is content creators, because influencers just about becomes a negative word nowadays. Content creators today can actually dominate the space more than Bollywood stars, because there are regional content creators and others that are favorites of brands and are paid 2 or 3 times more than they will pay a Bollywood star. These are not simple things. These are fantastic things and shows you where we are going. So I think this is a very dynamic, rapidly changing space. And of course, there are other things that are coming in which have both positives and negatives, like AI, deepfake, and all of those. We'll talk about it. But in terms of where we stand and where we're going to be going, I think there is no country like India. We're going to dominate the space, whether it's telecom, whether it's content creation. Don't have a phone, because if you're creating it, you're golden.
No, that's fantastic, Rajiv, those points that you took. And I'm taking a leaf out of what you said, tier 2, tier 3, that's where we are seeing really this creation, content consumption, which is happening. Naman, I want to get you in the conversation. मुझे आपसे पूछना है, बहुत सारे आपके videos जो होते हैं,
just before that, just a point to what Rajiv said. I think it's a very valid point with regard to 5G. You've had, in 21 months, the fastest rollout that has been experienced in any country in the world. 98% of districts of India are covered today by 5G. 80% of the population. 450,000 BTSs have been put up in record time. And the number of people who are actually active and subscribers on 5G today, 17 crores. That's 170 million people. That's half the population of the United States of America already on 5G in India. It's 21 months. So it's been amazing. His second comment about YouTube and moving to the vernacular, but that's not a surprising thing in India. If you go back to India's history in terms of print media, electronic media, and you look at the number of subscribers for print or electronic, the vernacular numbers blow away the English numbers by miles. So that's been a very clear part of India's movement. Content has to be tailored specifically to the requirement of our needs, region-wise, area-wise. And that's why India's unity in diversity, and that's the beauty that India brings to the table.
No, absolutely, Mr. Minister. Like you said, we were able to do the fastest rollout for 5G because we were already prepared with the handsets, with the with the regulation, etc. And coming back to the regional bit that you were talking about, and that's why I wanted to get Naman into this conversation. Naman, आप बहुत simple way में बताते हैं आपके viewers के लिए educate करते हैं उन्हें on tech, on different things. Have you noticed a difference between how tier 2, tier 3 audiences interact with your content versus tier 1? Anything that you can share from that trend with us?
First of all, thank you so much invite करने के लिए, and I'm very feeling so grateful to share a stage with you, sir. Because काफ़ी सुना है बचपन से आपके बारे में, because my mother is from Gwalior and from Scindia school, and मतलब जब भी बात होती है तो it's very grateful. And about the content creations and क्योंकि जैसे इंटरनेट आया आफ्टर द जियो एरा, वी कैन से इन इंडिया स्पेशली, बिकॉज अफोर्डेबल इंटरनेट जब हुआ एकदम, और अब तो 5G का टाइम आ चुका है, एंड नाउ पीपल आर स्टार्टिंग मोर देन मिलियंस, कितने अभी एग्जैक्ट नंबर भी नहीं होंगे कि जो डेली मोबाइल डेटा यूज़ होता है इंडिया के अंदर, इंटरनेट यूज़ होता है. स्मार्टफोन्स इतने ऑलमोस्ट सबके पास स्मार्टफोन्स हैं. द बेस्ट पार्ट जो वह पिछले 1 या 2 साल से हम लोग ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हैं एज अ टीम, क्योंकि हमारा काम ही यही है कि हम लोग सोशल मीडिया को ऑब्जर्व करते रहते हैं, क्योंकि कंटेंट चेंज होता रहता है हर टाइम. आप 1 महीने 2 महीने में ही आपको कुछ ना कुछ नया देखने को मिलता है. एंड द बेस्ट पार्ट इज़ कि शॉर्ट फॉर्म कंटेंट या लॉन्ग फॉर्म कंटेंट के बाद भी आज के टाइम पे कोई भी सिटी से हो, दे जस्ट वांटेड टू लर्न. और एंटरटेनमेंट तो एक पार्ट था ही जो शुरू से रहा है, बट अभी जैसे मेरी जो ऑडियंस है, आई ट्राई टू एक्सप्लेन इन अ वेरी सिंपल और ईजी वे कि मैं टेक्नोलॉजी को कैसे एक्सप्लेन कर सकता हूँ, किस तरीके से उनको बता सकता हूँ. एंड द कमेंट्स एंड द DMs आई गेट फ्रॉम देम कि यार आप बहुत अच्छे से बताते हो. एंड इट्स नॉट लाइक कि दे आर फ्रॉम दिल्ली, दे आर फ्रॉम बैंगलोर, हर जगह से हैं वो लोग, और दे आर विलिंग टू लर्न अ लॉट फ्रॉम देयर. और दो AI के बारे में हम जब बात करते हैं, वी हैव अ सेपरेट चैनल फॉर AI ऑल्सो विच इज़ नोन एज टेक प्लस AI, जहाँ पे हम डेडिकेटेडली AI के बारे में बात करते हैं. तो वहाँ पे भी हमारी ऑडियंस ऐसी है जो शुरू में थोड़ी सी प्रॉब्लमेटिक चीज़ें हुई थी कि अबाउट कि भाई AI क्या हो जाएगा, इससे ये हो सकता है, वो सकता है, नेगेटिव चीज़ें स्टार्ट हुई थी. बट अभी हम जो देखते हैं, ऑब्जर्वेशन हम करते हैं, तो बहुत ही नेक्स्ट लेवल पे चीज़ें हो रही हैं. वो बहुत अच्छे से समझना चाहते हैं, लोग सीख रहे हैं, और जो कंटेंट बनाते हैं हम लोग, अगर जैसे एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ, मैंने एक वीडियो बनाई थी अबाउट आधार कार्ड कि जो 5 साल के बच्चे होते हैं नीचे, उनके लिए पेरेंट्स को उनको लेके जाके आधार कार्ड नहीं बनवाना होता, देयर इज़ अ स्कीम कि आप घर पे आके वो कर सकते हो, बट देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल उनको नहीं पता था उस बारे में, तो वी हैव क्रिएटेड अ वीडियो अबाउट इट कि अब ऐसा ऐसा है। तो फेसबुक पे अराउंड 30-40 मिलियन, इंस्टाग्राम पे अराउंड 40 मिलियन, तो इतने लोगों ने देखा, समझा, शेयर किया और लोगों की हेल्प हुई है। और इट्स नॉट अबाउट कि यार वो लोग बहुत मेट्रो सिटी से बिलोंग करते हैं, तो मेरे को नहीं लगता कि सोशल मीडिया इज़ अ बैरियर की ऑडियंस कैसी है क्या है, इट्स टोटली डिपेंड अपॉन कंटेंट क्रिएटर कि वो किस तरीके का कंटेंट दे रहे हैं। और मुझे अच्छा इस वजह से लगता है कि लोग कुछ सीखने के लिए मुझे फॉलो कर रहे हैं, विच इज़ लाइक मैं इसी में मैं काफ़ी ज़्यादा खुश होता हूँ।
बिल्कुल नमन, इनफैक्ट सोशल मीडिया ग्रेट लेवलर जो आप बात कर रहे हैं, वी टॉक अबाउट बेसिकली लेजर इकोनॉमी दैट सोशल मीडिया हैज डन, बट एजुकेशन इज अ ह्यूज पार्ट ऑफ इट एंड दैट इज व्हाट वी आर सीइंग really emerging. You've given us a segue into AI. I was going to segue into it a little later, but I'm going to ask Sahiba this, and we'll quickly get into AI because that's interesting. Sahiba, increasingly AI is being used for scripting, script writing, editing videos, obviously, content creation. How are you using AI in your field for scripting? Because you're straddling both at the moment, right? Social media as well as television and movies.
Thank you so much for that. Also, Mr. Scindia, thank you so much for everything, the department, the ministry, everyone who's worked for 5G establishment in the country. Yesterday, my help, she went back home, she lives in the northeast, and she sent me a screenshot. I'm not lying about this. She was asking if 5G क्या मेरे phone में बार बार आ रहा है. I don't know if you're testing it or something, but she got it in a remote village, and that was fantastic. So I really wanted to make note of that to share it here today. To address your question, I think firstly, I do take a master class, and a lot of questions students ask me is about, is AI going to take my job? Should I fear AI? Is it going to make me irrelevant? And I just want to assure people here that AI is not here to take your jobs. It's not here to replace humans.
Yeah.
That is an extremely important part everyone should know. What you can do is use AI to enable you be better at what you do. That is extremely important, and it's going to be a must-have, a must-do. Please add it in your resumes. Please work towards enabling yourself to adapt to this huge evolution that we are seeing in the market. When we hire people in the corporate world, we do see how much knowledge they have about this evolution, about AI, and that is always going to be a value add. And yes, of course, me personally, I've also used AI. My team has used AI. I'm going to cite an example. So I'm a broadcaster with Star Sports. And in cricket, I can only talk in Hindi and English because that is the 2 languages that I know. But we know how important vernacular and regional languages are. We use AI when I'm talking live like this. On screen, you'll be hearing me in Tamil, in Kannada, in Odia, in Punjabi.
Yeah.
And that evolution is fantastic. And how did that come? By people who worked in creating that asset. So they created more jobs as well. Even in scripting, whether it's content, whether it's newspapers, whether it's journalism, whether it's the film industry, I have to say yes, you can use AI to make your content piece a little better, to make your content piece foolproof, but the human touch can only come from you. What AI lacks is the humanity behind it, is the human touch behind it, and that will never come with tech. And that's why you have to always, not like exactly what Rajiv said, not be reliable or make sure that AI is the only tool that you have. You have to use it for betterment of things.
Thank you for that, Sahiba. Minister Scindia, I'd like to get you in here. You did speak just a day ago on the regulatory framework, and it cannot be an afterthought for AI, right? Give us your thoughts on how are you going to navigate this road where you are going to straddle on one side biases maybe that algorithms have, AI regulation, and making sure that content creation still is not impacted. Give us a sense of what that road is going to be.
Well, I think that technology and innovation always brings with it tremendous amount of productivity improvements, creativity improvements, a lot of agility, but along with it must also bring certain guardrails. and certain standardization such that it is not misused. So for example, in the area of AI, the whole question of deep fakes, to make sure that people don't fall prey, people don't misuse that technology. That's extremely important. Because don't forget that human beings at the end of it all, going back to the point that Sahiba also made, that at the end of it all, we are very emotive people. And you do not want a negative emotion also rising up, A. B, you don't want people falling prey to spam or fraud. And therefore, when you go down the road of technology and you're going from 4G to 5G, which is higher speed, lower levels of latency, higher capability in terms of product formation, you also have to make sure that agencies like WTSA, 3GPP, put the guardrails in place in terms of those who want to misuse technology. And that's the flavor of the comment. I don't think it'll impact those who want to create proactive and positive content. I think we need more of that. Too much of the world today, and that's why I love being on the stage with these people, because the one thing that I want to credit Naman, Sahiba and Rajiv with is, if you look at their programs and you look at their content and what they're creating, it's about uniqueness. It is about positivity. It is about creating ideals and idols for us to follow. So much in our lives is today covered, unfortunately, by negativity. And I think that really is a paradigm shift. And that's what we need to create more of in India and across the world. So I'm all for much more freedom for creation of content, but I also want to protect people from falling prey to misuse of that liberty as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important to straddle that, space, Rajiv, what the minister just said about creativity, but then there's responsibility.
And I think that responsibility to some extent lies with all of us, lies with us as a regulator, lies with the likes of the people we have on the stage today, because the amount of people that they influence with the content that they create. And so one of the questions that I had for all three of you is, how is it that we can proliferate the story of Sanchar Sathi or Chakshu in terms of being able to create, to make sure that we safeguard against the negative uses of technology. And that tool is there, that enabler is there, but people like yourselves to make sure that it's widespreadly disseminated so that people adopt it and adapt to it. So sorry, I'm taking...
No, not at all. I was going to throw it open. Please go ahead.
One of the things that I've been doing now for almost a year and a half is that every single week I do one Instagram reel. I'm sure all of you who actually do follow and have seen it, I do one Instagram reel talking about which is the biggest digital scam or otherwise that is coming up, and simplifying it down to what is it that you can safeguard. For instance, these digital arrests. We took that reel out, again, 10, 12 million views. What I find very startling about that entire thing is that when people watch that, I think it is fear that makes them watch it. But the final emotion, as you spoke about, emotion is the most important part, is that they come out of it saying, oh my God, I didn't know that. Now I know it. The shareability of that is immense. We've tracked that down, that if there are 10 million views, there are almost 15 to 16 million people that have got it as shares. And that's all that it really is all about. If you know that this is the modus operandi of a particular scam, and you know that you're not going to be digitally arrested by CBI or Blue Dart or whoever is the latest scam. The latest one I've heard is TRAI. I've actually got a call myself saying, you've been misusing your phone, there's abusive language, and we're about to suspend your phone, press 1. Oh, you know that's not going to be, but how many people, vulnerable people, do not know? I mean, what is the biggest fear? Your phone will be suspended in a few seconds unless you press one, right? But if we can actually get that information out, use a little bit of humor, a little bit of entertainment, but leave you with the fact that I know this now and I will share it with friends, family, and anybody I know. That has become the fastest way to make sure that these scams and the imagination of scamsters, hats off, is becoming unbelievable. We've got to be more imaginative than them to make sure that everybody knows about this. So I have to say that once a week, now my team is telling me we've got to go to 2 scams a week because there are too many new ones that are all coming in. So that's one of the things that we're doing, and we're really, really going. So I did a show called Gadget Guru, Cell Guru. Unfortunately now, it's a negative one. People say, I really like your this thing. You should have a show called Scam Guru. Now, I don't know whether they mean me or the content that I put out.
No, that's really important. I'm actually going to invite the minister here because I know he has some questions for the content creators. So I'm going to open that segment up. But really important, Rajiv, what you just said, because this is the role that tech influencers are playing. Otherwise, you'd only have sort of a newspaper or publishers just talk about these scams. But through all of you, we are better educating everybody, to be aware of what is happening. And those lines are blurred, which is fantastic. Mr. Minister.
So, before I ask my question, I think the one thing that, and this is human psyche, including myself, when you're faced with new technology, there is always apprehension to adoption of that technology. And I think, and that's why I said the role of the people on the dais today who are seated with us is very, very important in many ways, much more than even government. Because the process has been truly democratized. The second comment I want to make is this apprehension that AI, blockchain, ML, IoT is going to take away jobs. Just remember that the one big thing that technology has done, and you've seen this happen time and time and time again. When computers first came in, they said jobs are going to go. When mobiles and phones came in, they said jobs are going to go. It's a creator of jobs, not it's an employment creation tool and technology. And for us in India, it's great because every Indian in his and her own right is a content creator. The question that I have for Naman is, Naman, you've taken very, very difficult concepts that are hard to break down and made them extremely simple. What's your algorithm to do that? I'm not asking you to reveal your IP, but...
No, sir. The thing is कि जितने भी यहाँ content creator होंगे या फिर देख रहे हैं, यहाँ पे भी जो बैठे हैं, सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज होता है एल्गोरिदम को समझना सर. सो वी एज अ कंटेंट क्रिएटर हमें खुद बहुत डिफिकल्ट होती है बिकॉज एल्गोरिदम का कोई भरोसा नहीं होता है चीज़ें कैसे होती. बट व्हाट आई ट्राई माय बेस्ट, जहाँ से शायद व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू क्रिएट अ कंटेंट व्हेन आई एम डूइंग अ जॉब इन आईटी कंपनी एंड साथ साथ में वो जो चल रहा था दोनों काम, तो उस टाइम पे आई एम वेरी पर्टिकुलर टू माय नीश, टेक, हाई टेक वर्ड यूज़ करना, और मतलब जो शायद एक पर्टिकुलर नीश के लोगों को ही समझ में आए. बट आई स्टिल रिमेंबर आई गॉट स्टक इन सम फॉलोअर्स नंबर ऑन इंस्टाग्राम. इट्स अराउंड 136K फॉलोअर्स एंड आई स्टक फॉर मोर देन 6 months. 6 महीनों के लिए वहाँ मैं अटक गया था. एंड आई वॉज लाइक आई एम वेरी कंसिस्टेंट अबाउट माई कॉन्टेंट, मुझे डालना है. उस टाइम पे ऐसा था कि इफ़ आई एम नॉट अपलोडिंग अ कॉन्टेंट, आई गॉट लाइक एनजाइटी एज अ कंटेंट क्रिएटर. यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि हो जाता है कि ये कंटेंट नहीं डाला है कुछ. तो फिगर आउट करते करते फिर एक दिन जब मैं बैठा था, सो आई वाज लाइक विथ माय फ्रेंड्स एंड सिटिंग आउटसाइड. हम लोग पानी पूरी खा रहे थे, बहुत बेसिक सा वो था मेरे. सो हम लोग बैठ के वहीं पे जब पानी पूरी खा रहे थे, तो उस टाइम मेरे एक थॉट आया कि यार कंटेंट ऐसा बनाना चाहिए कि ये अगर भैया देख रहे हैं तो इनको भी मेरा कंटेंट समझ में आए, और समवन हु इज़ अ CEO कॉर्पोरेट में बैठा है और उसको भी आना चाहिए. तो वो एक मेंटल स्टेट मैंने उस टाइम पे बनाया कि यार कुछ ऐसा बनाते हैं, इतना सिंपल बनाते हैं कि दोनों लोगों को वो समझ में, अगर हमने इधर कवर कर लिए तो मास ऑडियंस के साथ हम लोग वो कर देंगे. देन आई स्टार्टेड क्रिएटिंग कंटेंट अराउंड दैट कि भाई क्या बेसिक प्रॉब्लम है, वो सर्च करना स्टार्ट किया. बहुत इजी लेमन टर्म्स को बोलते हैं उसमें बनाना चालू किया. एंड आई स्टिल रिमेंबर मैंने जब वो स्टार्ट ही किया था, एंड आई एम फ्लाइंग फ्रॉम भोपाल टू बैंगलोर एंड इट वॉज लाइक अराउंड 2 hour flight. After 6 months I was at around 136K जैसा मैंने बताया. I uploaded one video of a Aadhaar card in the morning and I took a flight. जैसे ही मैं बैंगलोर पहुंचा, we crossed around 500K followers. Wow. Within 2 hours. So that strike me. और उसके बाद मैं रुका नहीं, मैंने कहा कि अब तो this is the mantra which I took. And honestly अच्छा लगता है ये देख के कि बाकी फिर content creators को inspiration मिला उस चीज़ को लेके. And they are also like started following कि यार ये करते हैं. Then जैसे ही वो बैंगलोर की ट्रिप खत्म हुई, we are at 1 million. वो
I think he's given you the secret how to get to 500K. Take a 2-hour flight as regularly as possible. He's given you the secret.
Yeah, and about the AI, I think we should not think AI is a replacement. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि AI को हमें अपना पार्टनर बनाना चाहिए. Don't think as a replacement. I use AI. Everyone use AI. And as a IT professional, ex-IT professional, I think जितने भी लोग हैं, if you are not like ready to like अगर blame करते रहोगे उस चीज़ को लेके कि AI कि ऐसा करेगा, तो पीछे रह जाओगे. What I personally believe.
जैसे नेताओं को सदैव ब्लेम किया जाता है.
I think so, but AI मतलब जितना जल्दी हो सके उतना अपने आप को ट्रेन एज अ ह्यूमन करना चाहिए. बैक इन 2010 ऑल्सो जब कंप्यूटर्स आए थे, लोग इतना वो हो गए थे कि अब क्या होगा, जॉब चली जाएगी. कुछ नहीं हुआ. अब AI आ गया है. तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि AI विल नेवर टेक योर जॉब, बट एज अ ओरिजिनल आर्टिस्ट अगर आप एक सॉन्ग राइटर हो, स्क्रिप्ट राइटर हो, तो योर वर्क विल बी सोल्ड ऑन अ हायर प्राइजेस कि ये ओरिजिनल है, ये AI के थ्रू है. एक वाटर मार्क बोल सकते हैं हम, एक लेबल बोल सकते हैं जो शायद आगे चल के आए. आई डोंट नो, मैं थोड़ा वो कर रहा हूँ, बट आई थिंक सो कि क्योंकि AI से हम सॉन्ग्स भी बना सकते हैं. कितने लोगों ने AI से सॉन्ग सुने होंगे इतने बड़े बड़े सिंगर्स के. बट आई थिंक सो कि अगर वो ओरिजिनल निकालेंगे अपना तो वो ज़्यादा में सेल होगा. तो इट्स जस्ट अ एग्जांपल व्हिच आई थिंक.
Yes, creativity, originality. A lot of people would be taking notes.
And if you're a cricketer, then you've got to understand the concept of, from Naman, how after hitting a many dot balls, you're actually going to be hitting sixes out of the park.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Sahiba, tell me, you've worn so many hats in your life. You're the current host of Shark Tank. You've been done a marketing program. You've covered cricket. I thought you spoke 20 languages, but now you've let that secret out that you only speak 2 languages and AI does the rest for you. So, how do you see yourself over the next couple of years evolving in this very fast, rapidly changing landscape, digital landscape, and what do you think are going to be some of your most difficult challenges going forward?
That's a very interesting question. I'm someone who doesn't even know what I'm eating for dinner, so to think so much in the future is daunting. But one thing I can address with utmost confidence is that this is also, internet has no borders, right? And India is the strongest and the biggest market in the global world. Because right now, if you see, we have accessibility to the internet, we have affordability, internet is even free. What's the huge change that's coming is all the countries internationally want to be in India, want to tap into the consumer market in India. If you see content creators, very, very big ones who are from the US or from other parts of Europe, especially come to India to create content because they want to target us. So that makes India extremely powerful. India is powerful because of the numbers. You have the most amazing brands and the biggest companies targeting India only because of its internet strength, because that gives power to the consumers. And I foresee that our consumer base is just going to become larger and it's going to attract a lot of international bodies here. It's going to make India more global. It's going to make India a force to reckon with. And I really feel like I need to work towards that. Maybe start a brand of my own and get international support for this thing.
Great, great.
You have a pitch that's coming.
Yeah.
A small pitch. That's fantastic. Before we started IMC, we had asked a question to the minister, and he had said, with all the technology which is happening, he'd love to be teleported. So I'm going to ask that now to each one of you. Which would be the first place that, if teleporting was here, where would you want to teleport yourself to? Rajiv, we can start with you.
So if this question had been asked maybe a few years back, I would have had many answers. I am, and this is not me trying to go towards, audience-friendly answer. But believe me, right now, I don't want to be teleported anywhere. India is the best. I'm just so incredibly satisfied and happy where we are. Let the world teleport to India. We don't have to go anywhere.
Let the world teleport to India. Sahiba, Naman?
For me, if it was a time machine, it's better. I really want to be teleported back to the 90s to see if I can live an analog life. Because we are so consumed by digital, just want to see if I can live my 90s childhood again. And second, I know there are a lot of islands in the Indian Ocean that are Indian territories that you do not have access to as a normal citizen. The government has access to it, so I would love to be
Teleported, okay. To the 90s and to other places that others don't have access to, regular people. Naman, aap bataiye.
My answer will be same as Rajiv sir, because I born in 1996, 1997 wale jitne bhi log hai. We have seen a lot of things, evolving everything from keypad smartphone, like to Android, iOS, everything. टेक्नोलॉजी इतना ग्रो होते हुए दिखा है तो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू लाइक गो बैक कि शायद जो मैं अभी कर रहा हूँ वो कुछ साल पहले और कर लेता या स्टार्ट कर देता तो वो शायद मेरे लिए वो होगा ताकि मैं जितना इवॉल्व अभी टेक्नोलॉजी में हूँ उतना और पहले हो पाता बिकॉज आई लव टेक्नोलॉजी अ लॉट like I can survive without food but I cannot survive without technology so yeah तो जो शायद मैं 2017 से कंटेंट क्रिएशन स्टार्ट किया था वो शायद पीछे कर सकता था.
That's true love. Mr. Minister, on behalf of the creators and me, we have one question for you on AI. So, if you had an AI personal assistant that could perfectly do one thing for you, what would that thing be?
I think create a very, very strong coupling between what work is being done and the communication strategy of that work across the globe. Because I think there are two realities in this world. One reality is that you have a product, so something that maybe, Rajiv looks at, and the product promises a lot but delivers less. And then you have a great product which has just not been marketed enough. And I think that's one of the important pieces of the puzzle that technology can be used to bridge and form a setu between.
Right.
Thank you so much. If we have 5 minutes, I'm going to open it up for a few questions.
I have one question I want to ask the minister before we go to anything to do with. And जैसे कि बात हुई है यहाँ पे vernacular 95% तो मैं हिंदी में पूछता हूँ, ठीक है? तो अगर आप मिनिस्टर नहीं होते और alternate career के लिए आप एक content creator या influencer होते, तो out of the two categories I'm giving you, and I want to also take a poll to see before you answer which one. तो जो दो categories हैं which I think would be very suitable to you, you would either be a tech creator या you would be a fashion creator. ठीक है? Okay. तो पहले poll ले लेते हैं. Listen, don't vote for both. हाँ, मतलब एक का करना है. So how many people think कि इनको एक tech creator होता तो he would he reached about 50 million tech creator? How many? So fashion seems to be the one that will get it. So you know now, if there is an alternate career in the future, it's fashion.
So let me say this, that, I think it's important in life to be, to have a flair and a passion for what you want to do. And in many ways, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And what I'm not doing is politics. Politics for me is not necessarily a great word, leave alone a great profession. What I believe is my calling and should be our calling is public service. And politics should be that mean towards that end. So I'm really passionate about what I do. And like you said, Rajiv, that if you were given an option to be teleported somewhere, you'd be here. If I were given that option, I'd still be a public servant.
Wonderful. We are totally out of time. A big hand for the minister to be with us today and really leading this conversation. A big hand for everybody, all the content creators, the tech creators here. It is the age of India. India is going to lead in technology. It will lead the world, and the heart of it is going to be content. Thank you so much, everyone.